Have you ever wanted to reset your animal populations on the Hunter Call of the Wild without losing all your progress? Well, it's possible, and I'm here to show you how. And the best part? It's not considered an exploit. Let's go. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Falx here, and I am going to teach you how to reset your animal populations on both PC and console without losing your progress. The methods, however, are a little bit different from each other, and on console you can't get as specific as you can on PC, but I'll talk about that a little later. The first thing I want to share with you is please
do this at your own risk.
I am not responsible for any loss of trophies, data, or glitches that result from doing this. The first method I will share with you is exclusively for PC, and yes, it does require some game file manipulation. I asked Beard if Expansive Worlds considers doing this an exploit, and he said no. You can see it on the screen grabs over here where he says it is not an exploit. Yay! But he did say it is best to back up your save in case glitches or any issues result from doing this, or if you accidentally delete the wrong thing. And while I have tested this method out for a long time over the period of a month, there were some things I noticed, but I'll talk about those a little later in the video. I can, however, confirm that it does work, at least for me. So the first thing you're going to do is, again, back up your save file. You can do this on PC by going to your Documents folder, right-click and holding the Avalanche Studios folder to either your desktop or some other designated spot, release the right mouse button and click Copy Here from the drop-down that pops up. This copies everything in that folder to the new location, and you can duplicate this process to save multiple versions of it just in case. I saved mine to an external hard drive. Next, go into your Steam account and find the game in your library. There, right-click the game title and select Properties. You want to toggle Cloud Saves to off. Next, go to your Documents folder. Click Avalanche Studios, COTW for Call of the Wild, then Saves. Here you will see I have two saves. One is from my old hunting profile before I restarted my whole game last year. The file I want is the one on top ending in 701. If you have multiple files shown here, find the one with the most recent activity date. Click here, and this is where you find all of the game files. Now, I'm not going to talk about anything else than only what you need for this method. Do not manipulate anything else or you will break the game. The ones you want to focus on are the animal_population_number files. You may have to scroll down to see them. Each number represents the corresponding map number. For example, Hirschfelden is number 0. Leighton Lakes is number 1. etc. This is where things get a little tricky. You would think that the maps are in numerical order of when they were released. This is partially true. Note that animal populations 5, 7, and 15 have really small file sizes. Mine are only 2 kilobytes. As far as I can tell, they do not correspond to any of the maps. So the map numbers are 0 is Hirschfelden, 1 is Leighton Lakes, 2 is Medved Taiga, 3 is Virhonga Savannah, 4 is Parque Fernando, 6 is Yukon Valley, 8 is Cuatro Colinas, 9 is Silver Ridge Peaks, 10 is Teo Aurora, 11 is Rancho del Arroyo, 12 is Mississippi Acres, 13 is Reventuli Coast, 14 is New England Mountains, 16 is Emerald Coast, and lastly, 17 is Sundar Patan. Remember, 5, 7, and 15 have no corresponding maps as far as I can tell. Once you've identified which of the maps you want to reboot, click the corresponding population file and delete it. Here I've selected Animal Population 1 for Leighton Lakes and am deleting it. Then scroll back up until you see a folder called Slots. Double-click to open. You'll see 3 files labeled 0, 1, and 2. You'll need to delete the same file out of each one of these as well. So click on 0, find the population file you want to reboot. I am again selecting Animal Population 1 for Leighton Lakes. Delete that file, click back, and do the same things in folders 1 and 2. Once you've done that, close the window. I usually empty my trash for good measure. Go back to Steam and relaunch the game. Select the reserve that you have rebooted, in this case Latent Lakes, and go to that reserve. Click Continue and allow yourself to load fully into the map. This step is crucial in order to reestablish a new population. But don't play through the map yet. In order to be safe, we need to turn cloud saves back on. Go ahead and exit back to the desktop. Once you're back on the desktop, right-click your game in the library again. Turn cloud saves back on. You will notice that the game will say out of sync with the cloud. That's okay. Select local save file instead of cloud save. That way it won't re-download your old animal population. And that's it. Go to Latent Lakes and explore. You should have a fresh new population. You can repeat this process for any of your animal populations or for all of them. Just a friendly reminder, guys, if you choose to do this, back up your save. If you find you need to reload your old save because something goes wrong with your population reset, just go to Documents, delete the Avalanche Studios file, find your backup save, right-click and drag it to your Documents folder and drop it there. When you launch the game, select Local Save so it pulls the data from that file to resync the cloud. Remember, do this at your own risk. I am again not responsible for any missing trophies, lost data, glitches, that sort of thing. And speaking of glitches and bugs, I didn't really encounter much of anything. What I did notice is if I have a lake where I've already found my need zones and I go and I scout a new population after doing this reset, sometimes that population will ding in as though I've just discovered it, but the icon will have already been on my map. So that's one of the things I noticed. The second thing I noticed is that sometimes your icons will be missing from your maps for certain need zones, like your water need zones for Barrasinga or Whitetail, etc. But if you generally know where those animals drink, you can recover them very quickly. Those are the only two bugs, I guess you could say, that I've observed with using this method, but overall I have been enjoying it very much. Now, let's talk about console. Now, to be fair, I am not a console player, so I am not as familiar with this method as I should be, but special shout out to theHunter22 for explaining it to me and how it should work. Now, unfortunately for consoles, you cannot delete individual animal populations. That's just not a thing. What most players have figured out to do is they create a brand new profile on the console for themselves. Then they go to the game, The Hunter Call of the Wild. They start a new game under this brand new personal profile and invite their main profile to whatever map they're playing on at the time. Then you can go around and explore and check out the populations in that new save game. While it lacks the finesse of the PC method and you can't delete individual population files, you can reset that secondary profiles game as many times as you want and basically achieve the same effect. You just can't delete specific populations is all. If you want to play more like the Hunter Classic, this is the way I've been told how to do it. And I heard this from a friend who heard this from a friend who heard this from a friend, etc. So this method has been floating out there for a while. I'm just putting it in a simplified format so that anybody who wants to can use it. If you enjoy more casual and random hunting experiences, I am dedicating my channel to population resets every first of the month. No matter what, it doesn't matter if we think we may have something nice on our map or we get a hint that something's there, it doesn't matter. Every first of the month, all of my populations are getting reset with 4 exceptions. I have 4 maps on which there are active grinds, and those maps I will not be resetting because I think it's only fair since I've put in so much work to get those grinds set up. Those maps are Map 2, Medved Taiga, Map 10, Teo Awara, Map 12, Mississippi Acres, and Map 14, New England Mountains. That just means I won't have fresh new populations to play with on those maps, and that's okay. I'm down with that. Those are my grinding maps when I get the urge to grind. I know a lot of us would love to have animal population resets periodically, and maybe one day Expansive Worlds will give us an official viable option to do that. That's gonna do it for my instructional video, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this method, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye!